first thing we have to recognize is that this solidifies the reality that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about peace or a damn about lives in Ukraine. So let's stop the fiction. I mean, you had Scott Jennings, the Republican apologist on CNN, out there saying, Donald Trump, he's the only one out there that, when he talks about, war and peace, it's peace first, peace, then war. I'm like, no, it's not, you idiot. Donald Trump doesn't know what he wants, what he, in terms of, geopolitical alignments. Donald Trump wants his ego massaged. Donald Trump wants to be seen as somebody who matters, somebody who counts. But when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, given the posture he's taken, he doesn't matter and he doesn't count. And Ryabkov made this point clear. There will be no ultimatums. And what Trump is doing is an ultimatum. It's a joke. 50 days. The Russians are supposed to go out and buy diapers because they have to change their diapers every day because of fear of Donald Trump's 50-day statement. Sanctions? Sanction Russia? Well, I guess they're talking about sanctioning, the supporters of Russia who buy the Russian energy and the Russian oil, do trade with Russia. Let's see, China. I think Trump just fixed the biggest mistake he ever made about China, which was to impose sanctions on tariffs on China in April. China didn't blink. They withdrew the rare earth minerals and magnetic materials, and the U.S. automobile industry collapsed, and Trump had to go crawling back, and they just fixed it. It looks like they were getting back on track to some sort of trade agreement. And what, he's going to throw it all away by putting 100% sanctions on China now? China will just pull the plug again. This time they won't be inclined to give it back, and the American economy will tank. All those wonderful weapons that Trump wants to build, they all require that rare earth mineral stuff, those magnetics. So it's stupid. Brazil. I think Lula basically said, if you want to sanction us, then we just don't want to do trade with you. Didn't he say a statement like that? We just won't trade with you. Okay. I think they're making this clear. And India, you really think India is going to yield its sovereignty right now? India that's trying to posture itself as a nation that matters. And they're going to go, oh no, the United States is threatening to sanction us. We're going to give up everything, all our standing that we have, and yield to the United States. No, it's never going to happen. That's why there's 50 days, because it will never happen. Trump will extend it. He's looking for diplomacy right now. And what he's going to say is, oh, my threats brought about this great change. But there will be no change, Donnie baby, because the Russians aren't playing your stupid game. Let me remind everybody, Donald Trump started this war. He tries to blame it on Joe Biden, but Donald Trump started this war. All of the policies that are in place that led to the events of February 2022 were put in place by Donald J. Trump. And the Russians know this. Now, the Russians, of course, being the mature, diplomatic, mature nation that they are, will have the door open to diplomacy. And it's better for Russia to talk to the United States than not talk. And so no matter how unpredictable and outrageous Donald Trump is, I mean, come on, outrageous? What do you think the Russians think about Donald Trump's leaked 2024 campaign statement, where he told Vladimir Putin that I will bomb the you-know-what, bovine excrement out of Moscow if Putin moves into Kiev? The statement was never made. Never made. So Donald Trump's a liar, and the Russians are just like, who is this man-child? And that's how they're treating this. What threat is here? The threat of sanctions, I already told you, that will never come to play. First of all, Russia could care less about sanctions, and the big partners out there, they're not gonna yield either, because that's the end of them. That's the end of them as being relevant. And if they come together, their combined impact on the American economy, Trump will never do this. He'll never pull the trigger on this. The weapon systems, 17 what? Batteries, full complement. Holy cow, Donnie baby, where are you getting them? Germany, they got 12. They ain't giving them up. They might give 1 or 2 up. They've already given 2 up, but they've been blown away. Let's see, Spain could give up some, but they don't have that many to begin with. Give up 1. The Netherlands, give them another one. We're up to 4, and they're not going to happen overnight. Germany's not going to provide any transit support until they get new stuff in, and the Americans ain't building new stuff, and if they are, it's going to Israel or to replenish American stocks. This is not happening. Donald Trump is there shaking the hands with Rutte, and the other thing is, look at the arrangement. How stupid does Rutte have to be, A, to believe this stuff? But here's Donald Trump's thing. Hey, Mark, you're going to give up all your weapons to Ukraine. You. And then you're going to buy them from us. And we're not going to spend a penny. If I were Rutte, I would have looked there and said, Donnie, baby, stick it in your ear. You know, why don't you go? We've already drafted it up for you. It's a document. Sign it. Get the hell out of NATO. We don't need you. We don't want you. You're useless to us. You mean nothing to us. Because this isn't serious. This isn't serious at all. This is a joke. This is posturing. So you can go to your Republican base because right now, they're mad. They didn't want anything going to Ukraine. But what he can say now is, hey, it ain't American money. Actually, we're making money off this. You remember that in what they did in the past. The Ukrainians saying, no, all this money, it doesn't go to Ukraine. It goes to the defense industry that builds it. But that was still taxpayer money being used to do this. There ain't no taxpayer money being used to go to Ukraine. We're just building weapons and selling them to the Europeans. But this is like, saying you want to buy the most exotic sports car in the world, and they can produce them at 4 a year, and there's a waiting list of 150. You ain't never going to get the exotic sports car. These Patriot missiles will never show up in Ukraine. The Russians are just going to put the pedal to the metal. In the next 50 days, rather than the Russians slowing things down, I think you're going to see Russia pounding. Any shipment that makes its way into Ukraine will be destroyed as soon as possible. Look at all the drones that are coming in. They're pounding warehouses. They're pounding factories. Anything. The totality of Ukraine's defense industry infrastructure is being wasted. Everything that comes in is being destroyed. Hardly any of it's getting to the front lines. This is the reality, and it's just going to get worse for Ukraine. Every time Great Britain or France or somebody signs a drone deal and they say we're going to increase the drone production capability gets targeted and taken out. This is the reality of Ukraine. And for Donald Trump to sit there and shove nonsense down our throat, I want to save lives. All you did is condemn even more Ukrainians to die. Yes, some Russians will die too, but not nearly in the numbers that you think they are. There is no leverage over Russia right now. You just look like the fool you are. The other thing is, if I were Taiwan, everybody else looking at this, I'd say, this man's a nut. He can't be trusted. He's not serious. It's all posturing. It's all about him, but it's not about real security, real outcomes. I mean, it's this. As an American, I am humiliated by the president's behavior. Thing on the world. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a grifter. He's a con artist. He's not the president of the United States. I mean, he is in name, but the function, he doesn't do